Good evening, everyone, to the Park Commission meeting for December 2nd, 2021. The first item on the agenda is called to order. We have quorum. Second item is approval of the minutes for the November 21 meeting.
Yeah, I'll take that. I move approval of the minutes from the November meeting with one small edit.
Okay, what is the edit?
In 5C, it was about Park Shelter 2022 fee schedule proposal. It says in the last paragraph, refer this out, and action by the Park Commission on December 4th. December 4th is Saturday. It's on our agenda tonight, so that should say the 2nd.
Okay.
So that is my edit. Unless anyone else has anything.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor with the change, say aye.
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 Nay, the motion carries. Next, public appearances for no agenda items. It seems that we don't have anyone in the chamber. Do we have anyone online? No. So next we move to the review and approve agenda.
I'll move to approve the agenda as given with one comment. I'm satisfied that the extra note of please note new start time is probably enough by now, and we could leave that off unless anyone else wants to extend it, which should be fine, but otherwise the agenda as given.
Okay, so we can discuss that. Any second?
I'll second.
Any objection to Patrick's recommendation?
Which is to no longer have the please note new start time.
No, I hear none, so
Everybody
okay.
happy with that?
So all those in favor of approving the agenda with Patrick's recommendation to remove the new time, the start time from now on, say aye.
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 Nays, the motion carry. So next is discussion of action items. And first, I move approval of resolution R-223-21, amending the 2021 General Fund and Capital Project Fund budget, reinstating parking lot resurfacing and park vehicle funding from collective recreational programming fees. I need a second. I move the approval. Who is going to second?
I second.
Yeah, why not? Yeah. Okay, so Scott.
Yeah, in this, if you may have recalled, back when we went through the budget process for 2021, due to shortage in recreational fees collected, we needed to find, I believe it was around $93,000 or $94,000 in order to make the operating budget in 2021 work. So we decided to take those dollars out of a couple CIP accounts. One was for the parking lots for $75,000 and a little bit of change, and then another one was for the second recreational vehicle for $17,774. So what this budget amendment is going to do, because we did have a successful year in 2021, we're going to be allowed to move the money from the dollars we collected in 2021 to 2022 to make these CIP accounts whole again. So that's basically what this resolution does for us.
I want to call
Okay, if you want to, if anyone wants to speak up, you need to have permission from the chair, okay? Okay, do you want to speak? Okay.
I'll call a point of order. I believe that the chair of the meeting can't also move, so unless the chair wants to overrule that, but I will offer to move approval of this, and then whoever was the second can still be the second.
I I have chaired other commission where I move all the resolutions, so,
Then chair rules.
okay, yeah. So, any question regarding this? Comment? No? How much money do you collect, Scott?
Well, if you
Oh,
look,
yeah, I see there, okay.
yeah, you look at page 7, Julia.
Yeah.
I put together a memo that kind of described it. We collected when I put this memo together, at that point, we collected $93,590 for recreational program fees. And then we collected $55,433 for shelter and athletic field reservations. I did need to take out some direct expenses for those two items, and then at the end of the day, we were able to have $105,004 in additional or excess revenue, but we only needed the $92,971.
I have a follow-up question. So you don't need these funds to cover the 2022 Parks Department budget?
If I'm understanding correctly, the revenue that we're anticipating to collect in 2022 is going to be
Okay,
is going to offset. So what happened we didn't collect the money in
20.
we didn't collect it
Yeah.
in 2020. So the idea was, we're going to have to, in order to fund the staff, we needed to find money to do that. But then we're lucky enough to have a successful season.
Okay,
So we're able to utilize those dollars to make those accounts whole again.
okay. Any other question? Okay, Patrick.
In other words, if I understand this, 2021, this year, worked out okay by itself. 2022 should be okay, hopefully. This is for 2020, where there was some borrowing, and this is paying that borrowing back for 2020.
In order to make it the budget whole, we needed to borrow from utilize money from the CIP accounts.
Yeah.
And this, because we had a successful year, is going to make those accounts whole again.
This borrowing from the other funds, parking lot and the other thing, that wasn't done yet, correct? Parking lot? So,
That's scheduled for 2022, and actually we had 2 rec vehicles, so we were only able to do one
okay.
in 2021, so now we'll be able to get the second one in 2022.
Okay, were they both scheduled for 2022 anyway, or were they
No,
put off?
No,
What?
the parking lot was not scheduled until 2022,
Yeah,
because we didn't have enough money, and we only got so much allocated each year.
okay.
Okay, so, all those in favor of resolution R-223-21, say aye.
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 Nays, the motion carries. Thank you. Next, I move approval of resolution R-221-21, approving of pool in-place surface for inclusive playground. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, Scott.
Was that Sarah, or who?
Yes, Sarah second.
Sarah? Thank you. This is, as we continue with our inclusive playground project, one of the components that we did bid out was the poured-in-place surfacing. And in order for me to keep the price for, the 2021 price, we needed to get this approved by the end of the year. So this is for the poured-in-place surfacing for the inclusive playground. I will note a couple items included in this is we did receive a $52,000 donation as part of the partnership that we have with the Fitchburg Optimist. And actually what I did do too is we We received 5 proposals, and even with creating a 2-color instead of a 1-color and a black, we were able to award the lowest bid. Their bid was low enough that we could even be allowed to have two separate colors in the port-in-place. So this is the resolution to get that price locked in, and then they'll do the work in the spring of 2022.
Okay. Any question? Patrick?
This part about the 2-color, as I read through it, I'm wondering, was the 2-color an alternate on the base bid, or the other way possibly that I'm kind of reading into this, did the Meek surfacing, did they bid the same as the others on the 1-color, but did they possibly just on their own offer a 2-color?
That was my recollection. Yeah, that's a good question, Patrick. I don't know specifically if we asked for I think that might have been just something that they provide additionally, a 2-color. I know if I recall, there was some other proposals that included for design and those kinds of things with a price.
I have a question, because I remember when we approved the design that we approved, it has 2 colors. So maybe this is what it is.
That could be too, Julie. I don't know. I just know that the price that they gave with a color in black, in order to add the 2-color, we needed to add, what was it, $1.50 per square feet. So even square foot. So if we even added that $1.50, they still were the low bid. So I wanted to get the most that we could for the price.
Okay, Patrick?
Yeah, that was the way that I read it, that even if they on their own offered the 2-color and the others weren't asked about 2 colors, their base bid, equal to equal compared to the others, was lower than the others, and even by them adding on their own, possibly, their 2-color, they were still lower than everybody else. In other words, if the other ones, they were maybe asked and they said they will do it for, 2 colors for $1, this company is still lower.
They are, yep.
Yeah, that's the way I read it.
And
I just
actually,
wondered if it was the equal to equal in comparing the bids.
Right.
Any other question? Comment? Here none? Okay, so all those in favor of resolution R-221-21, say aye.
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 Nay, the motion carries. Okay, so next, I move approval of resolution R-222-21, updating the 2022 fee schedule. Add pickleball court rental fee and new park shelter rental fee schedule. I need a second.
Second.
Okay, so Scott, all yours.
And we did discuss this last month, and really I did include in my comments to the Park Commission that certainly one of the goals was that we needed to, with the pickleball courts, we needed to include that in the fee schedule for 2022. But we also wanted to take the opportunity to try and streamline the schedule, if you would. And we were able to do that. And actually with and I guess the third point is that we wanted to make sure that we weren't going to, be losing money, if you would. So we were able to accomplish all of those goals. We also wanted to make sure that the fee schedule was fair and consistent to everyone. And one point I might reference, that when we had the large fee schedule, the $900, there may have been groups that were there for 4 days or 5 days or 1 day, and we still charged them the same $900, so we didn't think that was fair. So what the new policy will do is if you reserve the facility for a day, you're going to be charged for each of those specific days.
Okay, I have a question regarding the large special event. Usually, for how many days are those big events they are renting the park? 1 day, 2 days, or 3 days?
They will vary, Julia. Certainly the Festa Italia, for example, Festa Italia, they reserve it on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. But then these other events might only have it for Saturday or Sunday, and some events maybe only had it for 1 day on Sunday. And it really, I guess at the end of the day, it wasn't fair. So in order to make it, fair and easy for the staff is that if you reserve it for Thursday, you pay Thursday. You reserve it for Friday, you pay Friday, and so on. I know another thing that we did in order to make it fair, for example, if you look at on page 21 of your packet, what we did is we also wanted to make sure that the indoor location at McKee was the same as the indoor at Hugo Jamestown. And if you look at the fee before it, it was $25 less expensive at Hugo Jamestown for the indoor. So what we did is we added that $25 to the Hugo Jamestown to make it similar to the indoor facility that we have at McKee.
I asked that question because I want to be sure that I agree with fair and consistency. I don't have a problem. But if most of our rentals for big event were only for 1 day, maybe we are going to be losing money. Because it's most of them, we are going to be rental for 1 day, and we are charging $275 per day, and before we were renting for a $900 a day. You know what I mean? So there is a big difference there. You know what I mean? So this is what I asked the question.
Yep, absolutely. There's going to be some $900 renters that are going to pay less, and there's some $900 renters that are going to pay more. And like I say, that was what we did is we ran the numbers that we had last year, all the different shelter reservations with the new pay, and it came, and like I say, it was pretty equal. What did I put that in my memo? I thought it was 39, and then one was 41 or 42. But then if you take Hugo Jamestown, and we had 68 rentals in 2021, you add the $25 to that 68, that's like $1,400 or $1,700. So at the end of the day, it is going to be revenue, as we can estimate the best we can, revenue neutral or even a little bit more.
My other question is, did Misty review this schedule?
I gave her a heads up about it, so hopefully she had taken, and actually she did see it, actually, Julia, because she asked me to make sure that I included the current which I included in the packet. We have the one that's approved for 2022, but then what I did is I did include the changes. I wrote them in on pages 23 and 24 of your packet so everyone could kind of see the difference. And again, what we're doing is we're going 1 to 99 and then 100 and above. Those are only the two categories.
Okay, I will add another comment that to add something to this. So you need to add this, the 275, the 250 are per day. You need to say this is per day because you don't have any metric here. We don't know if this is per hour. If someone else is looking at this, they don't know what this one is. Those fees are per hour or per day. Can you add that? Yeah. Can you make that comment that this is this is a per day? You know what I mean? Because
we certainly, I
we
know
know this, but if someone else is looking at this, they don't know what is the metric that we are charging this.
We-
It could be 275.
We,
Per hour.
and actually, I will tell you, Julia, that we've got a shelter guide, which includes the description of all of the shelters along with an informational sheet. And what we are working on is we're working on that to make those clarifications, to make sure that everybody understands what the,
Okay.
you know, what the details are. So that's a good point.
Any other comment? Patrick?
Yeah, I like the change for the large event schedule. I see it as an incentive that any large event would try to minimize their number of days, and as soon as they release it, then it's available to rent to some other group or so. I see the converse of it, that in the old system here, if somebody's charged, I guess it's $900 for their large event for as many days as they want, they could take 1, 2, 3, 5. Why not take 10? Why not take 14? You get the same, you know, $900 fee for it. So I like it that way. Backing up a little bit, though, you lost me when you were talking about equalizing the McKee Main indoor. I presume you're talking about page 21, the indoor, 3 red stars, and then Hugel Jamestown, 3 red stars. I don't see the numbers equal there. Is that what you were talking about?
Yep, yep. And actually, what's different, if you look at that, it is for McKee Main with the outdoor, it's 300, it's a total of 300, so you've got to add that 100 in there.
That's included?
Yep, that's included.
outdoor-
You can't.
Outdoor always goes with indoor if
Yes,
someone wants
correct.
indoor.
You can't just do the indoor. In
Okay.
comparison to
Okay,
Kids Crossing, or Hugo Jamestown, it's just the indoor. In both of them, you get $100 back. So if you reserve McKee indoor, you actually have to reserve the outdoor also, which is 100. And then the indoor, in theory, is 200, but you get 100 back.
wait, the 100 back, is that a deposit or?
Yep, that's a key deposit, right?
Well, that's kind of beside the point of the rental fee then, right?
Well, I'm
I'm still not following the math.
Okay, so McKee indoor, in theory, if you wanted to rent McKee indoor, well, here, McKee Main outdoor is 100, right?
Good,
And then it says McKee Main with indoor.
okay.
So that then makes 300 because,
That means 300 gives you the indoor and the outdoor.
correct,
Not the other 100 listed for outdoor. You're choosing the second line, McKee Main. Basically, it means outdoor and indoor included for 300.
correct.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
you've got to take both the outdoor
yeah,
with the indoor.
okay. So then Hugo Jamestown.
That's the same, that's just 200, that's 200. So you can't do it, but if you only wanted to reserve the McKee Main indoor, you take the 100 out that you would have to pay for the outdoor, and it'd be 200.
Okay. I guess maybe I misheard it. I thought you were setting the two fees equal to each other.
They
but you're
are.
Really,
They are. They are.
only when you break
Well-
McKee into indoor versus outdoor, the outdoor is worth 100, the indoor is worth 200. That's what you're saying, right?
Right.
Okay,
Right.
and then that part, the indoor being worth 200 is equal to Hugo Jamestown being worth 200.
Correct.
200 to 200.
Correct,
Okay.
correct.
I have another question. Page 23.
Page what?
23,
23?
pickleball.
Pickleball,
So you're gonna charge $10 for what, per hour?
For 2-hour block,
You need to mention all of that. Where is
What?
say that?
if
Per hour. Okay, it's there. Okay.
Yep.
So it's $10 per hour.
$10 per hour per court, right?
No,
No.
per 2-hour court.
2 hours, I'm sorry.
Okay, so that one, it has to be very clear. And then, so how are you planning to collect this fee? You know, how do you know that people are not going there using the
Well,
the court?
they can.
It's an honor system.
Yep, they can. They can, Julia. It's the courts are first come, first serve to the general, just like the shelters and everything, ball diamonds, everything. If people want to make sure that they have the shelter for that day or the pickleball court for that 2-hour block, then they have to reserve it.
Okay.
Then they receive the, the paperwork, and we encourage them to take their paperwork with them so that they can, if they go there and someone's at the diamond or someone's in the shelter,
Okay.
they'll show them that paperwork and say, hey, I got it reserved.
I get that, but my question to you is, okay, so do we have any sign in the court that say this is you need to reserve this? Because suppose that I go and play with Patrick, pickleball. We go there, and then suddenly Sandra, Heidi show up and they say, hey, we pay, you need to leave.
Right.
So in order not to have problem, do we have some sign there that says, you need to reserve and pay,
Well,
No, but you know what I am saying, because it could be confusion with people that say, hey, I have been playing for an hour, and then these people come and they say, you know what I mean? So I think it should be any notification on the court that say, you know what, everyone is welcome to use it, but, priority are going to have the people that they pay and reserve the court in advance, because this is going to be very popular in the summer.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't see, it's how to avoid those issues coming in the summer, because if this sport is too popular, I assume those courts are going to be very busy during the summer, but...
And like I say, I think with all of our facilities, Julia, they're gonna go there that first time and gonna see that, you know what, it's packed and I'm not able to use it. How can I reserve some time? And then they'll have to reserve and pay for the time. And the same thing we do with the tennis courts. If we have we haven't had them for a couple years, but the USTA, they would have a league, and we would only allow them to reserve 5 of the courts. The other court needed to be open for the public.
No, I get all of this, but I am trying to push you to understand that. So if this is an honor system, what we are charging, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? So I don't know. So that
Yeah, I think they're we can certainly.
Because the other issue that
that
we are going to have in the summer is I know that you're working with a league, so we're going to have some leagues playing there, and they need to,
Yeah.
So we also need to be. So there are some people that they are not going to play in the league, some
Right.
residents. So
Right.
there should be some of them.
Well,
We should allocate some of those courts, that how many courts we are going to keep open for resident and the other one for the.
But understand too that if it's packed and you go there and 2 courts are open to the public, and we're actually working with the pickleball group,
Okay.
and there is some etiquette and things like that they, just like basketball or anything else, you play there for a while, and then after the match, if there's people waiting for it, rotate in and those kinds of things. So we are going to be working on some signage and things to make sure that people are going to try to accommodate each other.
Okay. Any other question, Patrick?
I had some similar questions as I was thinking this through, and you might explain when USTA was also using the McKee tennis courts of how it worked there. One thing that I am thinking, I've never seen any numbers on the courts at McKee. There are no numbers at the McGaw pickleball courts, so I don't know if they reserve a certain number, or if somebody pays a fee, they've got a piece of paper in their hand and they walk in and say, I get my first choice of any court they want, and they, kick people off.
I don't
I don't
want
know how
to,
this
I don't
reservation
want to,
works.
right, I don't want to challenge you, Patrick, but the McKee courts are numbered, actually.
Oh, they are?
Yep, there is numbers
Oh.
on them, and we're planning to do the same thing, to number the pickleball courts at McGaw, so that everybody knows what the deal is.
Okay, so people then would reserve a court by number,
Correct.
and if someone happens to be on it, they gotta
Well,
move.
then you show them the paperwork and say, hey, I got it reserved for this 2-hour block, and then they have to move.
As you're doing for shelter rentals, then is your staff, on these little 2-hour blocks at a time, McKee, McGaw, are your staff going to go, post a reservation list for the day on courts?
No, we wouldn't do it for the daily stuff, but certainly what we've done for USTA is or the rec department, or a specific program, we'll go and post that on Mondays and Wednesdays from 10 to noon.
Right.
This court is reserved for the recreation department, and then we'll post it.
Yeah.
We'll post that.
Yeah, there used to be those signs at the McKee tennis courts about recurring schedule,
Yeah,
weekly,
right.
was always the same.
Right.
Okay. One other thing, and the 20,
Okay, you have a follow-up question?
no,
Okay,
different, a little bit different,
okay,
but it's still on pickleball court.
okay, you can.
In your 2022 proposed column there, it says $5 per court, and you've written in $10 per court. You're increasing it.
Correct.
That's a change there,
Correct.
wiping out the $5 per court.
Correct. And that's why I put it there, so people knew what was in 2021 and what the new proposed fee is.
Okay, for the general public, can people register online to reserve all of this?
Pardon me?
Can people reserve all of this shelter and
Yes.
court online?
Yes, they can.
Okay.
Yep.
Any other question, comment? Patrick. Oh, Sarah first.
Oh,
Sarah.
sure.
We cannot.
Thank you. Sorry. I just had one quick thing to say, that when I had reserved a park shelter, I had the same worry about potentially someone being there, but it was super slick, that there weren't any concerns at all.
Okay.
And that there were people there, but I had my paperwork and it was very, very easy, and
Okay.
there weren't any concerns whatsoever. So just a personal experience to say that it was an issue, or wasn't an issue.
Okay.
And I'll tell you that I get maybe 1 or 2 calls during the
Okay.
summer, and that's
Okay.
it. where
Good to know. Yeah,
People
okay.
are really, really good about it, so.
Okay. Any other comment? Oh, Patrick. What? Okay, yes.
Okay, I would like to go back to page 21.
21?
Yes,
Okay.
with the new fee schedule for the shelters, since this is all in this
Okay.
category here. So what I'm thinking about here goes like this. The McKee outdoor has a large shelter, and it has a parking lot. McGaw has a comparable size large shelter and a parking lot. Now, I look at the other ones that are blacked out there. For the large group, 100 people or more, and it could be 101, 150, whatever. And I think of Greenfield, which has a pretty much same size shelter, and its own, actually has 3 parking lots. And let's see here, that one. And McKee Kids Crossing has really its own parking lot and a large shelter of the same size over there. So I'm wondering why those 2 can't be included for the large event. Obviously not, 500 or 1,000 people, but why can't they be opened up when only McKee Outdoor and McGaw Outdoor are available for large groups? Why couldn't those other 2 be options? I would rule out Hugo Jamestown because that's street parking. Swan Creek uses street parking. Tower Hill uses street parking, so those are not comparable. But these other ones with their own 1 or 3 parking lots, I don't see why they couldn't be available.
I think parking lots certainly, but amenities, I could see, I could see maybe Kids Crossing because McKee does have the, the additional amenities. Greenfield really doesn't have the amenities at McKee or McGaw.
What kind are you thinking of?
Well, the splash pads at McKee, there's tennis courts, there's a whole bunch of different.
But they may not be there to do a splash pad. They may be there to have a party in the shelter, and the shelters are about the same size.
Can I make another follow-up comment? It's like, Hugo Jamestown is a big park, and it have a big shelter. Why you did it? And now that Patrick made a comment, because I have been there in a big event. Why you did a blackout for more than 100? Because it can have 100 people in that park.
With I guess with Hugo Jamestown, Swan Creek, and Tower Hill, there's just street parking. We have no real parking lot, so I think that really.
Oh, that one is the criteria.
Pardon me?
So that one is because they don't have a parking lot inside the
It's
park.
really, yeah, it's difficult to accommodate those large groups. I could certainly see what Patrick is saying with the Kids Crossing one. Greenfield, I just don't think there's the amenities there that would merit it being raised. And again, these are annual fees. We can certainly take a look at them. Every year. I guess for this time, I did. This is a big jump going from 5 to 2.
But I want to tell you, I have been in Jamestown Park big event, more than 100 people, and people park on the street, no one complain, and go there. So, you know what I mean? So I am mentioning that because that park is a big park. You know what I mean? And so that's all. I am curious why you block. You know what I mean? Maybe we can open that.
I'd be happy to see Hugo Jamestown added on too as an option. If somebody doesn't want it, they don't have to rent it. But blacking it out means it's unavailable for all 5 of those. Yeah. So why stop them?
Well, and again, I guess I would prefer not to advertise Hugo Jamestown that you can have 100+ people there when there really isn't parking available for.
Right, I recognize that. That's why that was not my first suggestion there. I was looking at one Greenfield and Kids Crossing. Greenfield has 3 parking lots.
And again, I think if we're okay with doing this for this year, that would be great. We can certainly take under consideration and take a look at. Because I think amenities are a component. I think.
A little whiteout, and you could, change it right now.
One at a time. Okay, Scott, can you finish your thought? Scott.
Greenfield was rented 18 times, so it really wasn't rented that much. So if we, that's another thing as far as supply and demand. I don't want to, I just think it's, I think there was a lot of thought that goes into those different pay structures, and like I say, that's what staff is recommending.
Yeah, but okay. Any people, the people that are online, do you have any comment about this? Sarah, yes.
I guess my only comment is that I do like the cleaner structure, that I think it's nice to have less options. It's easier to read. And I do see Scott's perspective of having it be more equal, of if Festa Italia could rent it for 5 days. Hopefully now, if they only, they'd be charged for all those days. And if there's someone else that could potentially use it for just 1 day, that they have kind of their fare up. So I support Scott's recommendation and would move forward with this if. I don't know if there's any other, if we do move forward with this, that's all.
My only comment that maybe I'm gonna make that in council, I don't know, is that why we don't open Hugo Jamestown to, for a large event, I mean, that's it.
And actually just a comment that when we were looking to raise the Hugo Jamestown one, that is a shelter that's in one of our healthy neighborhoods. So I did want to, factor that in, that, I don't want to, I want to make sure that it's affordable for the residents that that's their neighborhood park, and it is in a healthy neighborhood. So I was hesitant to raise it that $25, but certainly in the interest of making it consistent and all of those kinds of things, we needed to.
I get it. I am not mentioning any moment that we need to change. I am not talking about fee change. I get it. I am talking why we cannot open, because it's, as I mentioned before, I have been in that park, big event. I didn't see any issue with the parking. I understand that there is no parking lot structure in the park that could be, a problem. But
I misunderstood.
You know what I mean? But because
I do.
I think I don't know, you have been there in that park. The shelter is incredible. It's great.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I'm kind of anticipating that, hey, we had 200 people here and said attendance 100 plus, and and it didn't work for 100 plus, and certainly.
It's have the same size as Mackey Farm Park, so.
Would you have the same? Is it your same thought with Greenfield, Patrick? That you wouldn't change the lower the 1 to 99 fee, but you would allow a large event, that fee would be adjusted accordingly for the large event, that it would be available for a large event.
That's a question to me?
Yeah. Was that your same thought?
I didn't try to calculate a fee. I just saw them as another option, another park. I'm kind of assuming that in a given really popular day, McKee outdoor is taken, Mogaw outdoor is taken, where else do they go? And I see comparable to other parks with a similar sized shelter. Now the Hugo Jamestown shelter, not exactly the same, and no on-site parking lot, but I agree with Julia, allow Hugo Jamestown for somewhat larger group, basically 101 and more, 100 plus.
I see what you're saying.
Let them try. Make it available.
Okay.
I see.
What is her name? Katie.
Hi, I would like to make a comment. I brought up the shelter information booklet that Scott had mentioned from the city's website. And at the moment, the information chart says that the shelter attendance is limited to 50 people at the Hugo Jamestown, Greenfield, Swan Creek, Tower Hill, Kids Crossing shelters, which means that renting these for more than 99 people would probably not make sense.
My question is the capacity of the size of the shelter, okay? This is what you're implying?
Yes, that the capacities say that they are limited to 50 people for Hugo Jamestown, Greenfield, Swan Creek, Tower Hill, and McKee.
Okay, you're talking about the indoor capacity of the shelter. Okay, I am thinking more about if people want to rent the whole park for a day for more than 100 people. It doesn't matter, you know what I mean? So we're talking different thing. Okay, fine. Patrick.
That's a good point by Katie, which means that number probably has to be changed, because we were already changing that with this new schedule, attendance 1 to 99. That's more than 50. So we're already kind of blowing past 50 on those 5 parks.
So this is the question is, Scott, when you designed what is on the website, the capacity was related to the indoor capacity of the shelter for a square feet?
Well, in fairness, Julia,
You don't remember?
no.
Okay.
Well, and again, I don't think we went down to the detail of that. That was just kind of the, but certainly the point is, if we really want to get into the square footage of shelters, space that is covered, that might be one thing. And then, okay, if you only have enough space for 95 people, but you still want to have a party for 100 or plus at Hugo Jamestown, understand that, if it's raining, you really don't have the under the shelter capacity kind of, if we want to get into that type of detail. But certainly I think we'll have to adjust, because we're adjusting the attendance on the thing. We'll have to adjust the attendance on the reservation guide.
Okay.
And in fairness too, I think everybody in the community pretty much knows the shelters and knows what all of that stuff is. So.
But I want to ask you another question, and then Chris, you're going. My question is, the McKee Farm Park shelter, the current one, I don't know if the capacity is for absorb more than 100 people inside. I have been there, you know what I mean? So my question, this is what I want to understand. When you talk about the 50 people in the other one and 100, so something that maybe we need to, I don't know if the comparable with the shelter in the
Hugo Jamestown?
You go, this is the new one and the big one, and oh my God, you know what I mean?
Right.
But, so this is what I am curious about,
I would venture to guess that the indoor place at Hugo Jamestown is similar, maybe just a touch larger than the indoor space at McKee Farms Park.
Exactly. So here is so you're validating my point. Why we don't open, why we don't open Hugo Jamestown, we open to a large event.
Good point.
Okay, that's it. Okay, Chris, what is your question, comment?
You were just saying if we did decide to open it up for large events, because the shelter has the capacity, but even if there's not the parking capacity, it could just have a lower fee than something like McKee to help account for that less convenience that park might have.
Oh, okay, could be a good point.
But my original comment was going to be, if some of the park shelters don't have that larger capacity, but we have this pricing structure listed, for 1 to 99, that could just be fixed with, an asterisk somewhere or an explanation saying, shelter capacities may vary, see park website for, shelter capacity or whatever, just because the numbers are clearly different on this pricing worksheet for a reason, so that might, clue people into, there's a reason they're different. Let's check out how many people this park shelter can hold, et cetera. So I don't think it means we need to go backwards into creating those different 1 to 50, 50 to 100, categories, but just some kind of clue to direct people to confirm the size of the different shelters.
I would like to ask Scott, on page 24, you have the park's reservation fee, and you have Hugo Jamestown, and you have 0 to 49 people, and 50 to 148 people. So what is that? So you are implying that this park has the capacity to absorb more than 100 people.
Well,
You know what I mean? So
well, right. And at 1 to 99, we're not having, that 99 or that 100 to 100 and there's only just a one category for Hugo Jamestown, right? Because we blacked it out for anything above. So it's really, both of those are just, it's just one. The 1 to 99. That's how I don't know why. I don't know why there was a 50 to a 149 for that one.
So my question to you is, you want to have consistency, maybe you need to clean up this spreadsheet too, to be consistent with your new shelter reservation fee.
I think it's done already.
There actually, when you look across, the 50 to 149 doesn't have a fee on it. So I think that 50 to 149 was not supposed to be there.
Oh, okay. Patrick.
The 0 to 49 is changed to 1 to 99.
Yeah, that was a little confusing when I read it, but the typed-in numbers, as I took this when I studied it enough, the typed-in numbers are the old way. Even if it says 2022 proposed, what was highlighted, and then your handwritten over on the left there, 1 to 99, using that one line, skip the line below that, then you go to the next line that says over on the left, 100 plus. You're using those two lines, and you're intending on dropping out the other two lines that are not highlighted on the right, correct?
You'll kind of see that our 100 and above is actually what used to be 150 to 499. That's a rate. So what we're doing is we're eliminating the second.
Okay, but you need to, okay. Maybe you need to clean up that spreadsheet better.
Did you see what I did there? So if you go at McKee Farms Park, the shelter, the 1 to 99,
Yeah,
and then I highlighted what it's going to be,
okay, highlight. Okay.
which it stays the same. And actually what we did is we made the 150 to 499 rate the 100 plus rate. That's what we did.
Yes, I see that, but this is a number that you understand.
Right. And what I should have done in hindsight is maybe drawn a line through that 50, but I didn't want to black it out kind of thing. So then in McGaw, it's 1 to 99 is the 0 to 49, and then the 150 to 499 became the 100, and then those other two are eliminated.
Okay, so maybe this should be a better explanation.
It does read like a roadmap. It just needs to be explained a little bit.
Okay, so my comment to the group is, because I am planning to amend this to open Hugo Jamestown to more than 100 people.
Second.
Okay.
Explain to me. So now you're gonna create an additional category for a Hugo Jamestown.
No, it's to open up to a large event. And maybe we can.
Now, will they pay the same rate of 1 to 99?
I think we should use Chris' logic that because they don't have a parking lot on site, maybe we can have a reduced fee.
Or give me your Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday rate and your Saturday, Sunday rate for Hugo Jamestown.
No, we need only for large. Okay. So the other one is.
I'm the second, so I would like to suggest that we just leave it up to you to figure it out for the
Yeah.
actual dollars. Then I would like to ask for, if the Julia making the motion would accept a friendly amendment, if you will, that I would like to add on Greenfield and Kids Crossing to open those up also.
No, let's do one at a time.
Okay.
Because they are different. So, I don't know, maybe we can do 150 through Monday through Friday and 175 Saturday and Sunday?
Well, because 100 of it would be, you'd get it back for the key deposit. So, if you kind of go.
You are charging Mago 175.
175, yeah.
Yeah. So I say,
So then it would be for Hugo Jamestown, that it would be 275 because you get 100 back for the, so what we could, in theory, do the same as McGaw, do 275 and 300. And then what happens is they do get 100 back for the key deposit. So it would end up being the same rental rate as McGaw.
okay. So you are confusing me about the.
I'm confusing. So what I'm suggesting is it becomes the same rental rate for Monday through Friday and Saturday and Sunday for McGaw, which would be 175 and 200. But what they also have to do is they have to pay an additional $100 key deposit, which they get returned back. So in theory, what it would be is it would be 275 and 300.
Okay, I have a question for you. So I'm gonna give an example. So I want to rent my key outdoor. What I am reading here is gonna cost me $250 the day. Okay? So you are telling me now that I need to add another $100 for the, I don't understand the $100 deposit return, you know what I mean?
It's only the two with the red asterisks, I think, if I'm understanding right, that have the key deposit.
Oh,
I have a comment on that.
okay.
I think that it's hard to find this $100 key deposit and figure this out. It took me a while reading this thing to even realize that's the way it goes. I would much rather see this listed in the columns as the rental fee. When there is a key deposit, add it in the little box there. Let's use McKee Main Indoor star as an example. It says 300 for the resident. Make it 200 plus $100 deposit. That way, they know they're paying 200 and that's what it's going to cost them. They'll get their 100 back. I look at this and I would see 300 and I say, geez, that's a lot, you know, and not realizing this $100 refund thing. That makes it very confusing.
Yeah.
You got to find the red stars. You got to find the note at the top. It's not a footnote at the bottom. It's at the top.
And again, I guess this came from the recreation department, and they're the ones that work with the customers. So
And we're the commission.
I understand, but you have to understand too that that's a professional staff that are dealing with it day to day. So
And we're still the commission that decides.
Well, Patrick, okay, you need to raise your hand. No, my question, Scott, is we are trying to facilitate for the resident how to read this, okay? I understand there is a process, but the question is because I am confused, you know what I mean? So, so the question is to facilitate the people that they're gonna rent this, what does the asterisk mean? Because you also mentioned that, okay, so those ones are the shelter that they have a key that they need to come to City Hall, pick up the key, and then return it. They are the two shelter. The Mago shelter, Mago doesn't have that. Okay. So, okay. I don't know what we are, you know, I think, okay, I don't know what the rest of think. I think we need to open up Hugo Jamestown to a large event. This is the motion on the table, the amended motion, and then, I don't know, figure out the fee.
And I guess I would suggest that fee be, $275 and $300. If you were going to leave it up to me, I guess that's just thinking about it right here. That's what I would make that fee.
Okay.
No objection from the second.
Okay. Everyone agree?
Well, this is Heidi. I just have two items. I just feel like we're making this way more difficult than what it needs to be. I mean, I think what Scott has written here is very good. Second thing is, every community in the area that I know of requires a deposit for a key rental. And some of them even require deposit to make sure that people clean up after themselves. So, I mean, I don't think it's foreign to expect residents to put a deposit down, that they're going to understand the concept that they do get that money back.
Okay, but okay, Heidi, but I don't think that the city asked for a deposit for cleaning up, isn't it, Scott? No.
We do not.
Okay.
We just ask that they, leave it in the condition that they found it.
Okay. And the other comment, Heidi, is I don't think that we are complicated this in. I think what we're trying to do is only, we agree with everything that Scott put here, is only to open another park to large an event and calculate the fee or recommend the fee to council.
I'm sorry, it's so hard to hear you. And I don't, maybe it's my computer.
I will repeat. I think all of us, we agree with this in front of us, what the Scott put together. With the only thing that we are discussing right now is to open another park for larger event and calculate or estimate a fee that we will recommend to finance and the council.
For the large event.
For the large event. Sarah?
So I guess for this, the discussion of opening Hugel Jamestown to a larger event, I would think it's a little concerning that when we look at the historical reservation system, it's always been for that just 1 to 49. If you were a resident living next to that park, are you at all frustrated that all of a sudden the attendance has been opened up for that facility and you weren't really necessarily aware? Like, I don't know. I just think the fee schedule was on the agenda and now we're discussing changing the attendance limitations, which I get we can do.
Yeah.
But I do think that it'd be nice if we thought about the residents who live next to that park too, and potentially doubling the attendance of the facility may cause a concern for them.
Okay, I'm gonna respond to you. Maybe the park has, all the reservation were, 68 reservation for 21 were only for 1 to 49 because the park was open to that capacity, period. You know what I mean? And second, I don't know if you know the park. Have you been in the park, Sarah? It's a huge park, you know what I mean? And it's very similar to the neighborhood like Mackey. I live 2 blocks away from Mackey Farm Park, you know what I mean?
Well,
and this is, sometimes you have events that they are like, you have people park even in my circle, you know what I mean? So, but it's good your point where you say that maybe we should inform the neighborhood that surrounded the park that will open, or maybe we should consider this for next year, or maybe, this year maybe we can survey the neighbor to see if they're open to,
Well, Sarah brings up a good point that
No, I know.
the shelter is right next to the street, which is right across the street from the residential neighborhood. So I think to...
But Mackey Farm Park is the same. You are surrounded by houses. So I get your point, Sarah. I get your point. It's I get your point. Okay, so Patrick, and then that's it. We're going to vote.
I see Sarah's point also, and I guess this would be a way to find out if there's objections from the neighborhood. A couple of other points that were made along the way about what if it rains. I kind of think that ends up being the event group's problem, literally. If it rains, there's other factors. Maybe half of them won't attend if it's raining. Otherwise, on a nice day, they're having a party. They're not all going to be, on the cement within the invisible walls of the shelter. They'll be spread out all over the place. I was there some years ago for a police-sponsored community event, and people were all over the place, you know, hundreds of feet out. There had to be more than 50 people there at that point. And the point about the key deposit, or a deposit that Heidi was saying, this is an inconsistency between this whole list on here, where there's only a deposit for 2 of them. There's not I don't know if there's a deposit on every single Madison Park for something, or how they do that exactly, but we just have a key deposit for 2 right here, not a deposit for all the others. So we have a different situation.
Well, and what, you know, it's just it's so difficult to, okay, then you call them and say, hey, we're gonna hold your deposit. And they're gonna say, well, we left it in a good shape. You know, someone else came in behind us and made a mess. So it was real difficult for us to confirm that the group made the mess in comparison to if you've got a key and it's an enclosed area and you lock it and then we come in there and it's a mess, and we really have a little bit more weight in saying, well, you know, you're the only one that had a key. Nobody else came in after you and made a big mess.
Okay, so we are ready to, so we have an amendment on the table. So the people that are in favor to open Hewell Jamestown will say yes, and the people that are against say no, okay? So the amendment is to open Hewell Jamestown to a larger event. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Who say aye on the online? Okay. All those against say nay.
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 So we have 4-2, okay? So the amendment passed. So now we need to vote on the resolution.
No, I want to make an amendment also to, in the similar way, open, you want to do them one at a time or both together, Greenfield and Kids Crossing? I would suggest that. I mean, if you want to separate them, we could do that. But I would just throw it in this very same way as Hewell Jamestown, because I think it is even more justified, Greenfield and Kids Crossing for a large event.
You need to put the amendment and you need to have.
That's the motion. That's an amendment, yes.
There is a second on the table. Okay, no second. Okay. So now we go back to the original resolution.
I have no more questions on this.
No, we are going to. We are already, you know.
This is a whole different thing on this.
Okay. What is the question?
Let's see here. Okay, page 23 caught my eye, where it says cricket at Gunflint and ultimate frisbee at Swan Creek McGaw lined, but everything on the 2021 and the 2022 is not applicable, I guess. So why is this even on here? They just get a paper reservation, but they don't have to pay anything for it? Is that the idea?
No, it's we don't line those fields for them.
Oh, okay. Okay. It seems a little strange to have that category, and everything is not applicable. If you like it that way, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're done?
Nope.
Okay, what else, Patrick?
All right.
One more.
On page 25, let me see if there's another. No, okay. So on page 25, there's the part about Diamond Field court fees. The first line says Ball Diamonds lights. Now, first I have a question. McGaw, as far as I know, is the only Ball Diamonds that have lights. Is that correct? Okay, that's correct. All right. Now, that is listed 2022 proposed as $10 and non-resident $20. I'm okay with those. Well, I guess I'll say I'm okay with those numbers as is. I have proposed in the past that they be raised. I have thought about it a lot. And I'm agreeing with keeping the numbers the same right there, the $10 for resident group and the $20 for non-resident. However, I see another inconsistency here. Now, let's see.
Where?
I don't know where it is exactly. It's in here somewhere. Somewhere you're charging $10. Okay, let me give you the basis here. The McGaw baseball diamonds, as I am well familiar with, there's 4 baseball fields. They have anywhere from 18 lights to 24 lights on each of those fields. So this charges $10 to turn on either the 18 lights or whatever, the 24 lights on whatever field it is, for 5 hours, from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Yeah, it's not from 5 to, it don't get dark until 8:30.
The time clock lets them turn on the lights. Believe me, they turn them on when the sun is still shining. So they can turn them on at 5 p.m. I mean, right in the fall when the Ultimate Frisbee is on there, they turn them on earlier because it's dark earlier. If the time clock allows it, they can turn them on. That's as an electrical cost to the city. That's my point. Now, by comparison, the inconsistency that I see is somewhere in here, and I can't point it out right away. You charge $10 for a McKee tennis court light, which is the south half is 4 lights, the north half is 4 lights, for a 2-hour block. So in other words, a McKee tennis, of course, there's 3 courts in the north, there's 3 courts in the south. Somebody has to pay $10 for 4 lights for 2 hours versus McGaw, one field, 18 to 24 lights for 5 hours. That's a huge difference in the actual expense to the city. I would suggest reducing the McKee tennis court cost. I mean, it says $10 right now. Cut it to 5.
But, okay.
I don't know where it is or which page it is, but it's in here somewhere.
I think we're going to the detail. This one has been in place for many, many years, so I don't know what is the issue here,
This is
Patrick.
what we're here for.
But you need to understand also that you cannot compare a tennis court with a baseball court.
Why not?
Because they are the size.
What?
The size of the field. You know what I mean?
Well, no, I'm looking, the reason of the $10 fee is to cover the electrical costs. And if you're running 24 lights for 5 hours, that's going to cost more than 4 lights for 2 hours. But the $10 fee is the same for those 2 rentals. And, okay, that's one point. The other thing that I would like to stipulate in the rental right here on the McGaw ball field rental, I'm okay with keeping it $10, but I would like it strongly stipulated, and I have good reason for saying this, that they turn off the lights on each field after their game or after their last game, because I see this every year. It's been a sore point for me. I've walked through the park often, and there's a group on Monday night and there's a group on Wednesday night. One of them is worse than the other. Don't remember which way, but they are. And they frequently will finish the first game early in the evening, and even if the sun was shining, they turn the lights on. And then they're done playing that game, and let's say it's, 8 o'clock or something like that, and they just walk away, and there's absolutely nobody on that field, and the lights are on. Nobody has bothered to turn them off, and they just let it go until the time clock turns it off at 10 o'clock.
Okay.
Anyone at all can walk up, any one of the players, I'm not going to, follow them around. Any one of the players can push the button to turn it off. Ask them to turn the lights off when their game is over. It'll save electricity for the city. We are trying to be conservative, or energy conservation, right?
Okay, well, your points are well taken, but then I think that one is more like it's not part of the conversation. Maybe you need to discuss with Scott how they can control that.
Well, I'd like to reduce the tennis court. Scott, can you point out where the tennis court late fee is. It's in here somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know where it is.
And in fairness, I may not have, I just wanted to make sure that I included the ones that we were changing. So they may not be included in the 4 pages that I included.
Right here, page 23. Second group from the top. Right there.
Pickleball and tennis court. Well, that's,
Tennis courts, lights, 2-hour time block per court. $10 for resident, $20 for non-resident. That.
yeah, that's not lights, that's just for the court.
It says lights. That's for the whole court plus the
Does
lights?
the court rental just include lights? Is that what that means?
I mean, it says tennis courts dash lights, 2-hour time block, so I was thinking of that, you know, if they play at noon.
The lights are separate. The lights are additional.
So this is the $10 for the lights specifically?
Well, if you look above, it's a tennis court lighted 2-hour time block, $10.
On the same page?
It's on the same page, yep, right above it. Tennis courts, lights, 2-hour time block.
Yeah, that's one I'm looking at.
Yep.
Yes, and then below that is, you're adding pickleball, but the typed part says tennis courts per court for 2-hour time block. $5, well, let's see here. Yeah, $5 per court for resident, $15 per court for non-resident. Oh, you're raising it to $10 and $20 though with your handwritten. So on top of that, if this is correct,
Yep.
if they want to turn on the lights, if they're playing at noon, they don't need to turn on the lights. The lights won't even go on, according to the time clock. But if it's in the evening, like right now, and they want to play, which they could, and they want the lights, then they pay an additional $10, which is the paragraph up above that.
Correct.
Correct? Okay.
Correct.
Okay, then, I mean, I still don't like this structure where it costs $5 for the court for 2 hours, but it costs $10 for 4 lights for that same block. They're never going to pay that. I mean, it's voluntary, it's honor system anyway, because anybody can walk over there, push a button and turn the lights on.
Yeah, so,
Exactly.
okay, so
Does anyone ever pay this?
I want to make a comment. It's 7:20, 8 o'clock. We need to finish the meeting and we have other things to cover. So I think, as you mentioned, this is an honor system, you know, so.
This is a once a year, so that's why I'm bringing it up.
Okay. So, Scott, for you, the last correction before we final vote is on page 25, in the Parks Festival, you had 2021 fee schedule 900 and 22 900. Maybe you need to make a correction there in that column.
What page was that?
25 on top, on the Park Festival fee for large event.
Oh,
You have 900 for 2021, you had $900, and then in 2022, that amount 900 is incorrect because
Yeah, we'll have to.
it's a
remove that.
correction,
Yep,
okay? Yeah,
That's a
okay.
good catch. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so we're done, so, so we're going to,
So I think what we did is we approved the amendment,
yes.
and now I think we got to go back to approve the resolution
Resolution,
as
yeah.
amended.
So now, I move approval of the resolution R-222-21 as amended,
Yeah.
adopting the 2022 fee schedule. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Nays, the motion carries. Okay.
Very good. Very
Thank
good.
you. Okay, so next we move to communication and to the, do we have anything to discuss for parks designation?
Nope.
Scott,
No.
no?
No update on that one.
Okay,
Question?
okay, 1 second, you need to raise your hand and, you know, what do you want to discuss? What is your question, Patrick?
Yeah. This is 6A, right? Okay.
Yes.
6A, why is there a page 26 in our packet if there is no update on this item? And I'm going to say the same thing about 6B, there's a page 27, and a 6C, there's a page 28. But No update on these three items, but
Well, and
we
I
have
guess what I did is I wanted to, that was a request that you made a couple months ago, that for all of these items, you wanted to have an update each meeting on these memorandums, and I guess I'm doing that and providing that there's no update to the memo that the Park Commission did approve regarding each of these items.
So in other words, we have a page with some information, but there's nothing
Okay.
to discuss on the
That
page?
was, right, that was the,
Okay,
that was a memorandum that was approved by the Park Commission, and then you asked me to keep bringing those back every month and provide an update, so
I did,
I'm doing those, so.
okay.
Okay, so let's move on through the agenda, please. So we don't have any, for parks designation, we don't have any update. Potential Terraversa Ag Park update, do we have any update?
No update on
No
that one?
update, okay. Parks and open space, do we have any update?
No update on that one.
Okay. And then for the 2022 operating budget,
Yep, I did want to provide, which I included in your packet, there were some council amendments to the 22 budget related to park rec and forestry, so I wanted to include those with their status for your information. I do have an additional one that I didn't include in here, is the Stoner Prairie Park design project. We did put an RFP together. We received 3 proposals, and we're actually interviewing those 3 firms on Monday. So I wanted to give you an update on that, so that's moving along.
okay, I have a question. When you say you're interviewing, who are the people interviewing those?
Well, it's going to be staff, and then I've asked Sarah to be involved from the Park Commission.
Okay, so I want to be sure that someone from Parks is there, okay?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. So the other thing I want to mention about the operating budget is that I want to thank the people that sent a letter of support from the Park Commission. So I was expecting more people from our Parks Commission to send letter to support, but I want to thank you, the persons who did that, so you know who you are. So thank you very much for your support. Okay. Next, we move to a staff report. Okay, what is the question?
Minutes on page 5 from last month's meeting, there's a line that you wrote that says Scott Endel reported that request for proposal. This is about Stoner Prairie Park. You might have just covered this.
Yes,
But let me ask my question. Proposals are due on November 17th, it said in the minutes of last month's meeting. So you just added in Stoner Prairie and a little bit of an update there. I had written my notes down here, so you just gave us a little bit of an update on Stoner Prairie. Okay, then you satisfied my question.
Okay, yeah, he did that. Okay. So next, we move to a staff report. Scott. Do you?
No details unless there's questions, certainly.
Okay, any question for Scott? Patrick?
Okay, on Joran's report, it mentions painting and rebuilding the signs. Those are the signs for each park. That's still an in-progress
It is.
project?
It is, to get them
Okay.
installed, yeah.
Okay, and he also mentions fencing at Hugel and Tower Hill. What's the fencing about?
We're doing an outfield fence at Hugel Jamestown for the ball diamond, and then backstop repair at Tower Hill, which was included in the 2021 budget.
Okay. And then also, the last line is start process to hire parks/streets worker. Did someone leave and there's a
Oh, no,
vacancy,
this
or-
was an additional staff that was included in the 2022 budget.
Okay,
It's a new position.
okay. Is that I'm not recalling the details. Is that a full-time or?
Yep, full-time.
That was an additional full-time on the public works side, isn't
Well,
it? Or is that
well,
a shared
it's-
between?
Oh, okay. Patrick, you want to ask question, you need to
same
ask permission
question.
for the chair. Okay, Patrick?
It's the same question. It's
Okay.
on Joran's report. That's a, what, full-time shared between Parks and Public Works?
Correct.
Okay. All right.
I have a question, Scott, about page 34 in the recreation report. They say that they are going to set up next session for yoga for all levels. They are going to start for January, the new classes for yoga.
I'm not following you, Julia.
Page 34, recreation report. There is a set up next session yoga for all levels. So this one is going to be when? In January?
I don't know the specific details on when it's
Okay.
going to be.
Okay, now I want to know. I'm curious, Okay. So I assume that it's going to be in the senior center.
Well, they have yoga both upstairs and downstairs.
Okay. No, in case that people are watching us and they want to know where those going to be and when, Sarah?
They'll be in the community center.
Okay. Sarah?
Yeah, Julie, I just wanted to let you know, I just got an email tonight that titled the winter recreation programs, and it does detail yoga for all levels starting in January. So I think notification just went out tonight.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, can you send me that link, Sarah? Can you send me? Okay.
Yep, I'll send it to you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, Sarah. Okay, so any other question for Scott?
Yeah.
Patrick, your last one.
Scott, on your report, you mentioned down towards the bottom, attending large event meeting with City of Madison Parks looking to have an event in northern Fitchburg. Can you tell us anything about that?
But it's actually, there's an annual event that they utilize streets. The City of Madison does, and they're looking to include Fish Hatchery Road. So that, and I don't really get involved with the street closures and all of those kinds of things. So the City of Madison reached out to me to figure out who all needs to be involved in it. So I got all of them together, and then they're kind of figuring out the event.
Is it something where people are running on the street?
Well, or running.
Biking, something
No, it
like-
might be a biking event. I don't know exactly the details of it.
Okay, and then also
Okay, what else?
attended monthly meeting with Pickleball Group to discuss wind screening strategies. What do you have in mind?
Well, and what we're looking at doing is trying some slats to see if that would help, instead of the windscreens themselves, to put like slats in the fences.
Okay.
So we're working on different kinds of strategies. The windscreens they just become a maintenance headache, if you would, at the end of the day, and these slats would be more of a permanent kind of structure. So we're working with internally, but we also have a small little pickleball committee that we're working on. And you bring up a lot of good points with the scheduling of the courts, and we're thinking about recreational programs and all of those kinds of things. So we're working on trying to put those rules and things together, if you would.
As far as the wind screening strategies, yes, I've seen the tarps that are used at McKee, Swan Creek. I kind of think they make it into a hot box. I would encourage planting as soon as possible a row of arborvitaes on the, windward side of pickleball, and, give them a few years and they'll be up tall enough where they'll provide.
And that was really kind of our strategy. We're still working on some trails and those kinds of things. We want to make sure that those are installed before we begin to do the landscape.
Okay.
And if you notice, the windscreens at McKee and those other locations have actually been removed because they become so tattered and it's hard to maintain them.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Scott, for the report. Moving to 8, future agenda items. We don't have anything. And then announcement. Our January 6th meeting is going to be in Jeannie's Ceiling Room, and the February 3rd in the council chambers.
Question on that.
Yes?
Last I looked at the schedule, there was no meeting in here on.
Yeah, there's going to be an event.
So, an event?
Yes.
Okay, I just wondered who bumped us. There was nothing on the
The
schedule.
Latino Chamber of Commerce is gonna have an event here.
Okay.
So I need a motion to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Oh, who's?
What?
Oh, did you make a motion, Julia?
Yes.
And then Chris seconded. Okay, okay.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye, it's 7:31.
Nay, the motion carries. Thank you very much for your participation. We are adjourning at 7:31. Bye.
Thank